Thank you. Just one click I was missing. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so the presentation is mainly about the public transport improvements in Tampere, but of course we are also doing a lot of things of other fields of green mobility. But honestly, I have to say that the Tampere is not the first or best city of what comes to promoting bicycles or walking, but more and we have a strong strong history in developing public transport, also the car traffic, but we are also doing things for bicycles and and walking. And yeah, we all know that this year with COVID-19 has been really stressful and hard with all these lockdowns and related issues. And it has also been hard for public transport, but we had a small celebration, at least small celebration in mid-November when first new tram vehicle entered our main street for the first test drives. The commercial operations are to be started in next year in two phases, first in April and in full operation in August 2021. But here you can see our main street, and actually there are some similarities of those pictures we just saw from Cluj-Napoca, that former this main street was 4 lanes of car traffic, totally crowded by buses and cars and so on. And now the whole street is newly built, and there is only 1 lane, two lanes, one per direction, and it's only for public transport, mainly for trams, and also a couple of bus lines will run there. And pedestrians and bicycles get a lot of new space, and so this is also not only a public transport project, but also for other means of green mobility in city center of Tampere. Here we can see on the map this keskusta there in the center means the city center, and this red lines are the first phases of the tram network, which will be most of the red sections are already ready. The infrastructure, the track and all related infrastructure are ready. There are also some parts which are under construction, but all these red sections of the tram will be in full operation in the beginning of August next year. And also we have an extension to west, and this tram construction of the track has already started and should be ready in 2024. But as you can see, this is not this doesn't cover all the city areas, but we also create and modify our bus network so that we will have a high frequency public transport network consisting of tram lines and around 10 more high frequency bus lines. Of course, there are a lot of other bus lines as well, but we try to organize this so that the parts of the city where the most activities and where are the most population are all covered by these high frequency lines. And the tram and the buses are organized all in the same under the same regime, so that the public transport authority buys the service for tram and the buses, and of course we have the tickets and all passenger information systems in common for trams and buses. Okay, as I said, we have had short-term worries because of this COVID situation. There are actually two worries. The first was that how should we react to this situation, but very soon we saw that the public transport has to operate all the time, so we didn't have any bigger closures of the public transport service, and since August we have had totally normal traffic supply and normal operational costs. But the problem, of course, is that ticket incomes drop, and we have got some state subsidy this year. It helps a little bit, but still we are in a very hard situation when it comes to the budget of the public transport, because of course the state and city also have a lot of other extra costs from healthcare services and so on. So, but in the current situation, we have around 30–40% fewer passengers, less passengers than compared to last year. And of course, we know that when we get over of this virus situation, this will change the better, but still we expect that it will take several years to get again to the situation where we were 2019, because this crisis has changed the way the people go to work, and some people have bought cars and so on. So this will affect public transport also in the long term. But actually, one thing when we see that how the car traffic volumes have developed during this crisis, it also causes a little bit worry about, because we saw that there was around 30–40% reduce in passenger amount of public transport. And when we see the main roads, traffic volumes in main roads this autumn have also decreased by 20–30%. But these are the roads, main roads to the city center, and we don't have the tram in operation yet, so the tram doesn't affect these figures. But when we compare these figures to the figures of the ring roads, ring motorways of around the city, these figures are only decreased by a couple of %, and some places there is no change compared to last year. So this is actually a kind of a long-term worry, because I suppose that also the movement of the people has had the same impact when it comes to motorways, but somehow the people are not coming to city center anymore as much as before, but they are driving their cars and passing the city center. So there are like two worlds, the green mobility world in the city center and the outer world, which where actually the traffic volume increases also during the crisis. And one important thing also, what happened this year was that in August, the Tampere city government accepted a carbon neutrality 2030 program. And for the mobility sector, it means that we should cut our emissions by 55% from until 2030. And to compare to other sectors, actually, the mobility sector has the lowest target of all, but still, I think it is a little bit hard to get to these targets. Okay, there we know that we had the start of e-bus operations, yeah, but the EU Clean Vehicle Directive will be in power in August also, and it will affect to our bus fleet. And this is kind of a like minimum level of renewable energy in public transport, because we see this share of the tram, which is in operation in 21 and in 25, and then we have these buses, the minimum level of electric and other renewable energy buses purchased. And so here we see the distribution of CO2 emissions by source, and in mobility sector there are the private cars, it's the most, then the trucks and vans and buses. So actually to operate 100% renewable energy buses, it's of course it's achievable, but actually I see that more important is the model shift from private cars to walking, to cycling, and to public transport. So if we solve this amount of fossil fuel in buses, it doesn't solve the big problem. So we have to also to see that to invest also to more quality and more volume on the public transport supply, and also pedestrian ways, bicycle ways, of course. And yeah, because this was like the strategic part of the presentation, and then because the fleet manager Kalle Keinonen couldn't participate today, I tell a few words about e-buses. So the public transport services we have we have our in-house operator, city-owned bus operator, and then we tender out the services from the private sector. And in spring, we had the market dialogue with operators and bus manufacturer representatives, and we saw that market is not fully prepared to leave bids with their buses. Some actors are ready, but some are not. And in summer, we had our first tendering round, where we prioritized the e-buses. There were around 20 buses traffic, and we granted 3% cost advantage for electric buses. But this time we saw that this was not enough, so a bid with diesel buses won this time. So we know that the extra cost for e-buses is more than 3%. Okay, our in-house operator knows that for the first pilot fleet of four buses, the extra cost was something over 10%, maybe 50, even 15%, but it was in 2016, and the market has developed since then. In spring 2021, we have a new tendering route for services with bus services, which begin in summer 22, and now we consider an e-bus requirement, although the directive doesn't force it yet. And yeah, as I mentioned, our in-house operator has since December 2016 2016, these new four Solaris e-buses with 70 kWh batteries and opportunity charging at the terminal stop, which is there in a picture. We got some state subsidy for investment cost at that time, and the purchasing of buses included also the chargers and maintaining of buses and chargers. So it's like it's one contract for the city, but in real world it is two separate entities managing these maintaining activities. And that's the buses are really good. I think there has been really few problems, but it's not the best way to manage to maintaining that. There are two separate companies. That one is taking care of buses and one taking care of chargers. So it is not the best way to do it like that. And right now we have find out that we should study about replacing the battery packs to more powerful ones so that we could operate with only depot charging. And for further e-bus purchases, we are in a situation where we actually it's required a new depot. The old depot is so old that it's not wise. It's not economically good to viable to convert it to e-bus operation. So because of this, we cannot buy, the city cannot buy new e-buses until maybe 2023. And last, some words about our development in public transport information systems. At the moment, we are in a situation where all of the buses are in GPS positioning. So our ticketing system produces real-time location data, sends it to the central system, and from the central system, it is shared to passenger displays, which almost all the buses have. It's left part of the displays is for public transport real-time information, and right part is for commercial use and also for public transport, like other kind of information than real-time ones. And then we have all the buses have the badge for drivers, and there the driver can check the route info, the stops, disturbances, and also to send some predefined messages. And for the passengers, the same information that the central system is also that all this information is visible for passengers via web or mobile app, and there passengers can check the location of buses and real-time timetable for every stops, and also get the notices of traffic disturbances. And in next year, we further develop not anymore just the system or the digital infrastructure. I think it's in good shape right now, but to get more out of it by setting up the public transport operation center, which will more active handle the everyday cases in public transport. So to get immediate response to traffic disturbances and to better share information of these disturbances for passengers and drivers. Yeah, thank you.
And thank you very much. Again, if there are any questions from the audience, please do not hesitate to ask. Maybe in the meantime, you were talking about the COVID-19 and how it influenced public transport, and that you didn't think about reducing, for example, the transport supply. Why didn't you intend to reduce it? For example, where I live, they reduced the public transport because the demand wasn't that high. Why, for example, you did not, opt for this option?
Yeah, we did some, but yeah, actually there are two reasons to that, or maybe even three. One is the contracts which we have with the private operators. They didn't allow us to do it in the short term. We should announce this kind of bigger changes in 6 months prior to change, and yeah, in this case it was not possible to do that. And then one thing was that the politicians want to ensure the safe traveling for the people who were forced to use the public transport for to go to work and or this kind of things, so that to have the buses running, and there were in springtime they were running like 5 to 10 passengers per each bus, and of course it's not economically sound, but this was a really special situation, and this was a kind of a like a political decision to do it like that.
Okay, thank you very much. Fair enough. And I can see that Stadler Reinhold also wants to ask questions, so maybe I can see that you put your camera, so maybe you want to ask it by yourself, or yes.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
First of all.
Good morning.
Hi. Thanks for the invitations. We are at the moment working at the renewal or upgrade or update of the sub for Cluj-Napoca, and that's why we also have the opportunity to be here. The question was mostly referring to if Tampere is at the moment using any kind of traffic management system to prioritize the tram, or if it is planning, and if yes, or depending on the answer, if the system is mostly designed or will be designed just to avoid delays, or to also make the tram like faster in any case, not just when it's late. And another quick question, what is the progress on mobility as a service? I know that there were some kind of pilot projects started in this, and it's a quite interesting topic because I know there are loads of barriers in developing this concept in most cities.
Yeah, okay, thank you for the questions. First, the traffic light priorities. Yes, I didn't add it in this presentation, but we have also this real-time information system connected to central operation, the operator's center of the traffic lights. So we can prioritize the trams and buses as well. And technically, I think it is quite ready, the system. And we have a target to have a kind of a zero delay for trams in traffic lights. But what I have heard that it's not so easy to program all the intersections to really function with the zero delay for tram, because of course it's always optimizing of the car traffic and the public transport, and also the pedestrian crossings and so on. So at the moment we don't know anything else, but technically it's working, the system. We have proved it with the buses but the most out of the system we can get until now. We have got good results in quite simple cases, simple intersections where we have a main street, for example, and a bus is coming from a other street, which doesn't have usually so much the green light. And in that kind of cases, we can give the bus immediate priority every 4 times an hour or something like that. But when we come to the close to the city center, where we have many complicated situations with the public transport going not only one route, but there are maybe 2 routes crossing. We have to prioritize them, and then the pedestrians and the car traffic and so on. So technically possible, but then it also maybe requires political power to say who will get the best priorities. And then, the other question was about the mobility as a service. It has been talked and discussed a lot, and but at the moment we are in a situation that it's not an integrated part of our public transport system. We have had some pilot project and so on, but the one problem seems to be that the newcomers in field are lacking, how would I say, lacking a strong commercial idea. And so now I think that's my own impression. What will happen next is that first we will integrate the long distance trains, long distance buses, and the city public transport, regional public transport, and then maybe integrate like event tickets and public transport in a same mobile app also. But it may happen in any time. I think the attitude towards the mobility as a service is positive, but still it needs the really strong commercial idea to happen.
Thank you very much.
May I ask one question, please? So I'm Michael Heidenreich, and I'm the application manager of Stardust. I have one question. I mean, do you think would be possible to get the business model behind this transition towards e-public transport, even in a anonymized way, for the follower cities?
Sorry, could you please repeat the question? I'm not sure if I really got it was about the business model of this mobility as a service, but to have it.
Yes, you have talked about tenders and things like that. So also procurement stuff. So what I'm asking is, you for sure you have a business model behind this transition towards, let's say, a step-by-step approach of electric
buses and renewable energy. Okay.
In future, do you think it would be possible to have, let's say, at least an idea about when it will pay off and things like that, what you have in mind for providing this information to the follower cities?
It doesn't. I think personally, I think it doesn't last very long when the e-buses are also the most economical option. I think one of the critical points at the moment is that how the operators can finance the buses and also the charging systems for the depots, and also that there is not only for Finland. For Finland the situation is also that not all the bus manufacturers which have had a strong or big share of market here, not all are ready for e-buses yet. That's because we are in a situation that actually there are not all European bus manufacturers available here in the north. Of course, we can buy the buses, but the aftermarket is even more important. How to maintain the buses in everyday life, and there are, I would say, in our area only 3 bus manufacturers which have a strong share of the market, and so it's limited, but yeah, it will come. The EU directive makes it, but I've heard that this is one problem for all. I think mostly for mid-size and small operators, that how they can make the transition, because if you we see it with our in-house operator, that if you have a fleet of only 4 e-buses, it's too small. It's not economically best solution. We should have them 20 or 30 same kind of buses, and then we could maintain also the all this required knowledge in-house.
Thank you very much. And do you think if, I don't know, maybe some of our follower cities would like to know some more on how you funded these buses, etc., do you think it would be maybe possible to ask you for some additional information, maybe through email?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's my email address is on the presentation slides.
And I also have
slide. It. So yeah. You are free to contact me, of course.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you for the presentation. If there are no other questions, we can go on to the next one. So